Who is it that's looking at me? Who is it that's experiencing? When there's a real collapsing into the moment, into what's happening, and there's a seeing that there's nothing that's experiencing this life. There's nothing that's looking out. This life is so empty and it's not located anywhere. I feel like I'm going too deep, like too much into it. I feel like I have to go back and talk about consciousness. So let's look at this word consciousness. Okay, what is consciousness? So when you wake up in the morning, there is something that automatically gets switched on, that you don't sit there and type into your brain before it happens and be like, turn on consciousness. You wake up in the morning and it's your birthright to have consciousness. It happens automatically. Otherwise there would be no waking up. You can't wake up and not have consciousness. You can be unconscious on the personal level. So on the personal level, you can be unconscious that you're in a bad mood, or unconscious that you don't want to go to work that day or something. But you automatically, that's not the unconsciousness or consciousness I'm talking about. You automatically in the morning wake up with consciousness. When you're born into this life, there is consciousness. Consciousness has to be here in order for life to appear. Without consciousness, there's nothing happening. There is no world, there is no experience. So consciousness is the base experience. Most humans think that the consciousness and your soul and your personality structure and your body are all merged into one, and they have no way of pulling it out and pulling it away from each other. They just think that is one thing, that you're a body mind that's walking around that's conscious. And a lot of people think that consciousness is something that forms inside the brain and it belongs to you. And when you shut your eyes and go to sleep at night, consciousness switches off, and when you wake up in the morning, it switched back on again. And you're being conscious of these objects that are separate to you, that are out there separate to you. But this isn't true. When you deeply go into consciousness, you actually find there is no consciousness. There is nothing that's conscious of everything. There isn't a consciousness that's separate from all things. All things are inherently consciousness. There is no thing that's in here or behind your head that's conscious of everything. There's nothing that you can extrapolate out from all things and say, this is what consciousness is. Consciousness is not a thing, yet it's everything. So consciousness is totally empty. So when it's looking now and experiencing now, there's absolutely nothing experiencing at all. It's totally free. It's experiencing, and then everything is gone instantly. We think that consciousness is in some way going into time, so we muddle up our thinking mind and consciousness, and we think that the memory of the past is somehow related to consciousness. But consciousness is only here. It's only in appearances, and consciousness doesn't contain or own a memory. A memory appears in it, but it doesn't own it. So there could be still consciousness here, and you could have a bump on your head and completely forget everything, but there's still consciousness. Consciousness is prior to all experience and is all experience. It's totally empty. It's not a thing. And it's experiencing now, and it's not separate from that which it experiences. It's not separate from the sound of my voice, the sight of my face, the sight of your computer, the wall. It is all things that appear. And all things that appear are appearing from that no place. They're not appearing from the past. And if you go into your direct experience, that's how it is. All things are appearing from now, this, what's happening right here, which is so incredibly exciting. It leaves everything to this infinite wonder, that everything is totally mysterious. It doesn't make sense, all of this. It's when we try to own things and name things and keep things in time that life becomes dead and depressing and boring and all the things that people describe emptiness as. Emptiness is your freedom. The fact that this is mysterious and that you own nothing and it's nothing experiencing now is the freedom. It means that if you were to be stabbed or hurt or in pain, there's at the core of it, there's nothing actually suffering. The body is in pain, the person might be in pain, but that which is experiencing the person isn't suffering. It's only the dream, in the dream, that it's suffering or it's in pain. But the source of it, there's nothing that ever suffers. And when that pain goes, it's gone. It's not somebody that has owned or had something. It's your brain, it's your memory, it's your body that remembers all these things, remembers your past traumas. But in this moment, it's always free. And that means that consciousness manifested in the human form, it looks like infinite wonder, because there is nothing known in direct pure consciousness. Consciousness is knowing of all things as they are in this moment, but not knowing on the intellectual, on the mind, on the human body level. It's absolute mystery. So being connected to that, so when you stop being identified with the person and consciousness becomes the experiencer, this life is known as mystery, as anything is possible, infinite wonder, because it is wondrous. Anything could happen. It's only your body and your personality that's putting everything into categories and labeling it of how it's going to be in the future and what it's going to look like and what you're going to be. In the direct moment, it's free to be whatever it is. Your essence is potentiality. It's anything's possible. And that is so incredibly exciting. When you identify with the person, you become a limitation. You become an object moving through time. So you become somebody that's bad or good or right or wrong or tall or short or fat or thin or all those things. And then your partner, your lover, your friends become limitations, because you see everything as a limitation. Everything is an object. It is definable by past events, future events, or what you think about it, rather than we don't know what everything is. It's got that air of mystery to it. So to truly love somebody is to see someone in that vein, see that on the human level, it's an apparent flow through time. So the character has a pattern and logic to it. But on the absolute level, that isn't who they are. Who they are is free to be anything, to be what you are. And this is so truly exciting. So truly exciting. This is wondrous, miraculous. And this is what's forgotten in humanity, and this is why they suffer, because they identify with a limitation when the nature is limitless. So what has to happen is there's to be a waking up from that dream of being separate, and this energetic shift back to infinite, so that there is nothing experiencing, it's emptiness experiencing through a form that's an apparent pattern. So in a form that's an apparent limitation, but this energetic shift and deep knowing that who you are and who you're experiencing, who's experiencing, is not a limitation. Your essence, what's looking now, is totally empty. So speaking now comes from nowhere, moving comes from nowhere. Your patterns, your traumas, your habit, your karma comes from nowhere and doesn't make you. When you believe your karma, your habits, your patterns, your past is you, this is when you butt heads with life, when you argue and fight with life, when life really turns into suffering. It becomes very solid and dense. So how to wake up? It's happening. You can't wake up because you don't actually exist. So all this imagining about becoming free is only imagining to try to make yourself feel better in this moment. You don't exist. You can never wake up because who are you? You're not a constructed identity that is going to exist in the future. In every moment, you're actually fresh. Even though you're following a pattern and it seems like there is a linear you, in every moment it's free. There is nobody experiencing it. There is nobody linear. So who would wake up? It's a happening. Disidentification happens. Identification happens. And yes, it seems like on the human level, the apparent person does things to get to waking up, but it's nobody's free will, it's nobody's choice. That's simply happening. And two people could do exactly the same things and one could wake up and the other can't. It's not like there is a path. This is a pathless path. We don't know how it happens. If somebody knew, they would be a multi-millionaire selling it to everybody because it's freedom. It would like pass like wild crackers. What's that called? Wildfire? No, wild crackers. No, I forgot that saying. Hotcakes. Hotcakes. Sell like hotcakes. Is that it? So low, so low. So what to do then? So on the human level, my recommendation to you would be to look at your dynamics and look at your seeking patterns, knowing that there's nobody looking at it and that you, the one that's looking at those dynamics, can't actually wake up because you don't exist. But that's a wise thing to do. However, doing it isn't under your control. It seems like it is, but it isn't under your control. And I'll explain that in more detail. So this is a sample that I typically give is, imagine Khaleesi. Khaleesi has my dog. That's a dog. She is a wild dog from Thailand. Now, she doesn't know anything about the idea or concept of choice. It's a human invented word, choice. So we made it up. Dogs don't think in their head, I wonder what I'm going to choose for dinner tonight. I wonder where I'm going to choose to do my pee-pee. They don't have language, so how could they possibly think that? There's some form of imagination going on. They can imagine image maybe, but they can't think in words. They can't think, which boyfriend am I going to choose? Which house am I going to live in to choose? Which bone am I going to choose? Because how would they think that? If they can't speak, if they don't know language, how can they formulate that thought in their head? Our thinking is predominantly by thought as well as images. And I suspect that they have some limited form of imagination happening, but predominantly our thinking is in words. So how could she think about what she's going to choose? However, she does choose, even though she has no concept of what choice is. She doesn't know what choice is. I could put a carrot and a bone down for her, so a chicken bone and a carrot, and she will sniff both. She will take in the information goes into the body, goes into the system, and then a choice is made. But to her, she's not making a choice. To her, there is only one option, and that's the option that's going to happen, but she doesn't even know that. There's just a response happening. And sniffing both those articles, the bone and the carrot, is a way of her body determining which one is better for her. But that's not her choice. It's something the body does, and it's something we do. We believe we're choosing on the surface, so our thoughts say, oh, why don't you choose the carrot over the apple? And then we choose the carrot over the apple, and we think we as an entity have chosen inside our mind, inside our thinking mind. But actually scientists say that that comes 6 seconds after the choice has happened. So the choice has happened in the body before we can even think about it, and then we tell ourselves a story, I'm going to choose the apple, and it makes it seem like there's somebody inside the body choosing the apple. So it's a choiceless choice. So it appears like you're choosing to work on the character. It appears like you're choosing to sit down and listen to me speak now. But actually, it's a happening. And we don't know how it's happening. And that's beautiful, mysterious, and magical. Because things seem to work in logic and seem to make sense, and seem to be quite predictable, we think as humans we've manipulated it and we're beating the system, which on a bodily level that's happening, but it's not us doing it. It's like robots. We're programmed to do that. And choice is a way of informing the body. Choice is a way of putting the information into the body. So when Khaleesi sniffs the 2 bones, it's a way of the body registering what's on offer or what is in front. So when I go to buy a car, I go to the Aldi and I go to the Volvo and I look at 2 cars, there's not actually a choice that I'm making on the human level, on the thinking level. The body is making the choice, but what I'm doing is I'm putting information into the system, and then I'm saying it's my choice. It's not my choice, it's going to happen. And then I'll tell a story to myself about choosing. And that's fine. You can tell yourself whatever story it is. But energetically, it's knowing deeply that there's nobody that ever chose, which means everybody's innocent. Even all those naughty psychopaths and sociopaths and narcissists. Everyone loves that on the internet at the moment. The narcissist, the psychopath, and sociopath. He's a narcissist, my ex is a narcissist, my mother's a narcissist, my father's a narcissist. Everyone loves the narcissist. But of course, I'm not a narcissist. It's super important that we feel like we can choose on the human level. If we didn't, we would feel like we were inside a cage. So it's important that it feels like this choice. It is important that I can choose between the iPhone and the the type phone is the Samsung phone. Even though it's gonna happen, and it's beyond my control, it's important that it feels like I go into the shop and I make the choice. That's how we're set up, and that is very balanced and empowering on the human level. When you feel on the human level that you can't choose and that you're out of control and don't have any power, then you're likely to be depressed or unbalanced or in disharmony. The human has to feel like it has power and it can choose. This is important qualities on the human level. But it's not the human level that wakes up. There is an effect that happens on the human level from waking up, but it's not that which wakes up. There's an energetic shift beyond that. It's the experiencer, it's this dropping out of that, and it's this energetic movement to nothing is experiencing, emptiness is experiencing, freedom is experiencing. Freedom is experiencing. Isn't that wonderful? What is experiencing now is absolutely limitless. That which looks at me has no place. So when I freeze like that, can you still hear me? It is unknown. So I just have to shut it down and open it up again, it seems. Hello? I'm still not... Am I moving? Hello? This iPhone is difficile ce soir. Difficile ce soir. I don't know why it's doing this. It keeps getting stuck, so just refresh the page. Yeah, we're back. It keeps getting stuck. I don't know why that is. Okay. So, yes. I think that was everything. I forgot what I was even talking about. I was talking about emptiness and the beauty of emptiness, the wonder of emptiness. So maybe I'll just mention about what seeking is. So let's just go again about what happens. So when there's an identification with the person, seeking begins to form. And seeking is this avoidance. So when there's that identification, so when energetically there's this closing down and feeling like you are a consciousness and you're consciousness and you're a person with thoughts, feelings, ideas, that you're something that came from time, that you're something that's moving into future. When that closes down, it feels uncomfortable. And what it does is it looks to the current experience to find out the problem. And predominantly it looks like at the emotional body. It looks at the emotional body. So if you feel fear or depression or anxiety, you think that there's this energy that tries to get out of that, and then it looks at the outside world and it says, what is it that's causing me depression? What is it that's causing me fear? And it tries to work a way to avoid that, work out a way to avoid all of those experiences, to stop the feeling body being uncomfortable. But over time, what it does is it increases thinking, based on what you think about, and actually encourages the feeling and makes the feeling more and more strong. It cuts you off from the rest of your body because there's so much focus on your thinking mind. So let me give you an example. Say if you're someone as a young child, so identification starts, and then as a young child, there's a lot of satisfaction found in getting attention. So the young child finds it very satisfying at getting attention and being looked at and being told it's good and doing well. So when it goes to school, it's very important for that young child to impress the teachers and make the teachers happy. So when the teacher is happy, it has a very good feeling. And when it has a good feeling, there is a relaxation in the system. So that child has started seeking, and it believes that that pleasure of being loved, being appreciated, is home, is the freedom that it's lost. The freedom that it's lost is emptiness, is this moment, but it believes that that is it. It's not conscious of it, but energetically it begins to play this game where it looks towards pleasure being freedom and pain being something which takes freedom. And the reason happens is because when that child gets the attention, in that moment there's a relaxation. The child tells itself, I've got what I've wanted, and then the seeking stops momentarily. And there's a connection actually in that moment to not being anything. In that moment, everything stops. But then it starts up again, trying to get the attention. And that game can be very exciting when you're trying to get attention from someone. But when you don't get attention, so when it doesn't do well, when it isn't told it's successful, when it's told off, when it's ignored, when others do better than it, a lot of painful feelings arise in the body. And that increases the seeking. It validates that getting the attention is definitely it. And it does like those feelings. Because there's such a focus in on the body, there's a focus, a narrowing in, there's a focus just on that personal experience, and everything in that personal experience becomes super important. So there's an uncomfortable feeling of feeling rejected, and then it desperately tries to turn that round. It doesn't want to feel or experience that feeling. So what it can do is it can think about how to impress the teacher or how to impress the other person. It can think about how much it dislikes the person that did get attention. It can imagine times when it had got attention. It It can do all types of things in its imagination. And it creates this constant seeking dynamic and a focus on what you think. And this belief begins that your freedom is in the future when you receive pleasure, when you get nice things that you have associated as nice things, nice feelings, nice experiences. And freedom is taken away from you when you get pain. So this game, this pendulum between pleasure and pain becomes super important. And it totally clouds experience. It really fills up experience, and it's totally forgotten that actually it's not in that game that's your freedom. It's that there's nothing looking now, there's nothing experiencing. And that energetic shift is your freedom. It's the identification with the person and then the seeking in pleasure and the seeking to avoid pain that's created this discomfort. All you've ever wanted is to be empty, is to not be that person, to be limitless, to be in contact with that infinite wonder and possibility. That's all you ever wanted. So, as I was saying, there can be a looking at that. There can be a looking at the seeking game and what it is you seek for, to see that it's not true, but know that it's no one seeing it and there's nobody that's doing it. That just happens. I recommend it, and there can be an exploration. So when I work with people one-to-one, I often actually just go through their psychological makeup of what it is they're seeking for and what it is they're deluded by. People are so deluded by what they think. So even in this, if they're feeling frustrated now, they might really believe that it's because they've done something wrong. They don't get it. They're guilty. And they're not even aware that that's the game that's playing. They're just beginning to feel more and more uncomfortable. Or maybe they feel like I'm a bad teacher and I'm too complicated and I'm not explaining it correctly. But that's not true. It can't be true because this isn't an intellectual thing. So in that, you believe that intellectual understanding is going to get you to a place that you're one day going to understand. Understanding will never bring you this. You'll go round forever just like looking for it in feelings. It's here now in this. So when I'm working with people, I look at what they're attached to, what thoughts and belief systems, that people might believe it's frustration, that frustration is true, that life is depressing, that life is dark or bad in some way, and this is totally not true. They might not even see that that's what they feel. It might be deep in their being that they're seeking to avoid deep darkness and everything, so they limit all their experience because they're terrified of darkness. And it's not that you need to sort yourself out and be free of all these dynamics. It's clearing out enough to see that it's not true and have this space to recognize, or for who you truly are to shine through. Like when you're really contracted and narrow and seeking lots, there's so much dense energy on you. There has to be a relax. Okay, so now I will take questions. I'm going to try and move my computer back and see if it makes the ringing. If it makes the ringing, it's like a tick, 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 tick. That's interference. And just tell me if that's the case, and I will move my computer away again. It didn't have this problem last week, but it could be down to the winds. Technology is a funny thing. It does funny things. Hello? Lisa? Lisa? Are you there? No, it's fine. Okay, so let's go to questions. This time I need my glasses, but I left my glasses in France. Milosh. Hello, Milosh. Nice to meet you, Milosh. Hi, Lisa. I have a question. Yes. Since my Kundalini is activated and I'm less and less, but still am obviously, I'm interested, can one get self-realization even though we are not ones who get realized? Self realizes itself without Kundalini awakening and vice versa. I know it's not something I should think about and I don't, but I just wanted to ask. Thanks. It is an energetic shift, but I'm not sure if it's the same as Kundalini awakening. I'm not even sure if I had Kundalini awakening or not, but it was a huge energetic shift, and it might be what they describe as Kundalini awakening. So I don't know. That's the answer to your question, Milosh. Thank you for your question. Hi, Isabel. I love all the fiddling with the equipment. It's all fantastic to engage with you in any way, shape, or form. Sound is great here. Oh, thanks, Isabel. Hi, Franziska. Hi, Lisa. Good to see you. I have a question regarding the letting go of the false self. I feel it seems more and more easy to let go of thoughts because they aren't as solid as the imagined body, which you feel in every move. I know that this question comes from me being identified with it, but can you say something about that? Thanks for all your love and talks. So it's exactly in what you say. It's an imagined body. It's imagined. It's a thought, your body. So now with your feet on the floor, just see that your foot and the floor in this direct moment don't have a beginning and an end. It doesn't start or stop. The same with the sensations on your body and the hearing. It's a thought that says, I hear Lisa. It's a thought that says, I am a size. It's a thought that says, I have a body. It's a thought that says, I'm a body moving in the world. But those thoughts are so hypnotic that energetically they feel true. It makes the appearance that you're walking around a specific size. Whereas you're not a specific size. In this direct moment, it's empty and full simultaneously, and there's no border on anything. Isn't that wonderful? Hey, Anja. Hi, Lisa. Shall I send you the question I sent on Sunday again for today? Yes. Hi, Thomas. All good. Sound is fine. Nothing to worry about. You really got this down to an art. A huge thanks always for what you do. Oh, thanks, Thomas. I try to do as high a quality as I can. But what I need to improve on is my beginning to prepare earlier for the stream, so that all these possibilities and variables can be checked before the stream. That's my goal, is to prepare earlier for the stream. My nature is very artistic and creative and spontaneous and not so good with a timetable, so these types of things are something that I have to work on. But that is my goal. I'm going to try and start preparing at 5:30. Hello, Lisa. I'm very happy to watch you tonight. There is points I would like to clarify with you, if that's okay. Yeah, sure, Jordan. If you want to call in, then just call me, or you can write your question here. Thanks, Jordan. Hi, Deanna. I don't hear any crackling sound, is fine. What it means to explore seeking patterns, how do you do that? It's just basically the thinking mind recognizing different patterns and putting attention on the discomfort in the body. So in this moment, if there is an agitation in the body, recognize where that agitation is and what the agitation is. So say if it's in the throat, then it's more than likely you haven't communicated with someone or you felt suppressed verbally today. Like that's the throat chakra. So you just notice that, and you notice it's agitated. And what you're going to do in interactions is that you're going to seek to try to resolve that. And it's not going to work. There's nothing which is going to resolve it. It might work momentarily, but it will start again. So it's just noticing these dynamics and being honest with yourself, and then saying, what is it that I truly want? And what you want on the positive is to be heard, to be understood, to express yourself, and just focusing more on the positive line of what you want, so it relaxes that dynamic. But no, either way, that isn't home. What happens is you get discomfort in your throat, and then you begin to moan about someone that didn't listen to you. So say, because the throat is all about expression. So in your head, you begin to bitch about your partner because they didn't listen to you. And all that's happening is that this is being activated. Maybe they didn't listen to you, but this is being activated. And then the seeking energy believes you're going to find home in it. It's not about freeing this and fixing it as such. It's seeing that it's not true. It's like, it's not even you seeing, it's just the energy of seeking slowing down enough for another possibility to be seen. What happens for most people is they're so lost in the illusion of them. So in the world where there's absolutely no consciousness about dynamics, where people aren't even into psychology, non-duality or meditation, nothing alternative, what would happen is this would arise and then they would just pick a fight with someone and blame them for something, or like have lots of hatred thoughts about someone and just think it's real, just get really involved in it. So say if they keep suppressing themselves, it'll build up and then they'll verbally like attack someone, and then they'll think they're right, and then they'll go to their friends and they'll get all their friends to believe them, and they just think that's real and that's the way it is. And it's not true. It's an illusion. It doesn't mean in the apparent story that your boyfriend didn't listen to you, and you can say to him, I would like you to listen to me more, but it's the seeking to find love in it that's the problem. And the love is home, is this moment that everything that you seek for isn't found in pleasure and pain. Your next pleasure of getting a high from eating or sex or someone listening to you or going to a party is never going to bring you what you look for. It is simply pleasure, which is nice. It doesn't mean that you have to stop experiencing pleasure. It's this daydream that it will free you. And the way you can know if you're daydreaming about it is look at your mental activity. If your mind is moaning about your partner loads or moaning about this or stuck in that thought or this thought, then you can tell that there is seeking happening there. And it's an agitated feeling. It can't rest now. Thanks, Deanna. I don't think the shutdown was necessary before doing so. I could hear and see you just fine. Never mind. Oh. Hi, Carmela. Love and gratitude. Hi, Bia. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for putting yourself forward and for offering. A couple of days ago, there was a definite seeing through of the linchpin of this personality, wanting some contact from this space. I didn't know what you mean. Hi, Raphael. Hi, Lisa. When you say that it's possible to stop and investigate the seeking energy and trace it back to its source, it resonates and I can feel it. But in everyday situations, it's like there's such a momentum in the seeking that it's like a frigid fright. I forgot that word. Frigid, no, fright ship, a big ship, trying to break and stop, but it never works. Does it take time to slow it down and make it easier to be aware of the seeking energy? The moment when it plays up? Yeah, through time. It's just seen and then it dissipates a lot. Becomes less important. It doesn't matter when you're rushing around if you don't see it, just spend some time looking at it. Hi, dear Lisa. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here tonight. Thanks, Claire. That's nice. I'm noticing I'm identifying myself with many judgments about myself, with disagreeable sensations, depressive moods. Being in presence and staying as the observer happened a lot these last weeks. A lot of presence and silence could be experienced, and now, boom, it's very strongly here. Could you help me with that? Could you call me? Yeah, we can call. You can call. Hey, Claire.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, nice to see you.